so big life lesson to anybody in game development. Stuff happens. Things go wrong. It's just the name of the game. And we're currently at that point. We're on week number 2, and we're having some build issues, which makes sense because we started the first week, last week when I did the playtest, we showed our latest build, and it was still very much a prototype. Our artists were just getting their wheels turning, and we have a lot of art coming into the game. But now it's all being funneled through our 2 engineers, and it's kind of like drinking from the fire hose. We have all our engineers just drinking from the fire hose, and things will break. So we're putting some things in place this week to help mitigate that. We're having a submission deadline before our Wednesday build so that our artists, effects artists, sound designers, they have to get things to our engineers before a certain time so they're not throwing it over the fence and breaking the build, which also happens. What we could also do is have a cutoff time on Tuesday for the build, for the sprint review build, and then you can branch off and start putting things in like crazy in a second one, and that way we could use that secondary build for Wednesday if we wanted to. Classic Tin, how's it going? But everybody, we're going to be doing these weekly live streams of our build. For those that aren't aware, this is, we're making a brick breaker platformer in Unreal Engine. We've got a team of 9 now, I believe. We just brought on a sound designer or a sound engineer this would be a sound designer this week to help out with some of the sounds. We've got a lot of stuff coming in. All right, so here we go. Let's get chatting about it this week. I'll have a better list of all of our updates for the week. But one of the things I did want to show for progression's sake, where we're at now, just to do a little visual here for anyone hopping in who's not familiar with the project. We are Walternet Games. We're making our first debut game to be released at the end of the month. It's an 8-week project, which is crazy fast. Just to show you. All right, so this was the original 1-page document that we gave to the team. Just a simple layout. Basically, you're a little character, a little platformer character, runs back and forth on the screen. You can jump, and you knock a ball up and down. And when it hits the bricks, you score points. When it hits the blocks beneath you, it does damage and uncovers some hazards. So it's kind of putting a twist on the brick breaker genre, meaning that you're not only trying to attack the top, but the ball doesn't fall down below you. So the ball can be destroyed by the hazard as well. And the ball, if it hits you, can also hurt you. So this was the initial design that we started with this 8-week project. Now here's the fun part. I've got 9 creative people who are trying to add features like crazy, and so it's been a super fun process trying to rein the complexity down, but we've gone through a lot of iterations. We're going to show you some of those today as we try and get this weekly build going. Let me find it here again. Jack says nope, just PC and Steam Deck in the pipeline for now. Oh yeah, someone was asking will be on the Switch. That's like a long-term stretch goal. We are going to be just going crazy, just getting to the finish line with getting this done in just 8 weeks is actually it's an insane timeline. But eventually, yes, Switch is like a stretch goal for later on. Would make a great Steam Deck. That's part of the reason we're pushing to get it on the Steam Deck and the and PC, because ideally it'll be easier to port over to the Switch if it's already running well on the Steam Deck. Goodness. Okay, so let's talk about the game a little bit. We're agile. We're doing. We're just cruising along. Anyway, so I showed you kind of like this is where we started a week ago, and we had like that basic build, which I'll show you. We'll just show it. So this was our general idea, and so last week we were going through a lot of character iteration. And so on Wednesday, I realized that we needed a little bit more definition in the design because we wanted the game to be modular. Actually, let's look at this. Here's what we wanted. We wanted the bricks to have 3 damage states, points awarded for destroying, destroy all to move on to the next level. So we had a basic rule set. Paddle deflects the ball. The player is destroyed by the ball and the hazards. Player controls move left, move right, and of course jump. The ground, we had originally designed just 2 damage states before being destroyed by the ball. So the ball would hit the wood, it would look all like broken wood, and then it would fall through. Of course, we can change the health parameters as we go. Maybe that's too strong. We want everything to be broken with 1 hit, which is probably how we'll start like the intro levels, just so it is painfully clear what to do. The wood would destroy with 1 hit, I guess. Apparently, hazard, the lava. Destroys player, destroys ball, or passes on attribute, and then the stone would be invulnerable, so anything would damage that. So we came up with that design, we did the prototype, everyone started working and realized that wasn't enough information. So at the beginning of last week, this was kind of the kickoff, I presented this at our sprint review, and it kind of ruffled a little bit of feathers, I think, but I presented this, and I'll show you. Trying to refine the design. This is my really long design document. But we had gotten a lot of cool artwork the week before. You can see there it had trains and other things on it. But we wanted to make that, figure out how that would work. The wood is 2 hits right now. That's how it was in Derek's build. That's great. Mazerjacks, we can keep that because we can always change the health. But this is kind of what we started with. We wanted to figure out how to merge the really cool art that Ellie and Amelia were making into our super blocky static modular game design. This is an image that Jack had made with our original little character here. And so I started making some rule sets that we would just have 3 block sizes: the standard block size, a half size, and a quarter size for all the breakables. So the idea is that the standard would be the regular jump height. The half block would allow for like these bridge pieces and something that's a little bit narrow, also the same footprint as the bricks that would be above you. And we also coined the terminology today. The bricks are the things you want to destroy up top. The blocks are everything else that the world is made of, right? And the quarter pieces would be like this little lamp or pieces of debris. These would be like the set dressing kind of pretty pieces. And those might break just when you pass through or jump on them. We don't know. But they will add some flavor and some juice to the world. I really love this train. So I was trying to figure out how that could fit in the world and make sense. And I'll tell you, I put it in this quarter piece, and I put it in as an example here where the train is really small. The design team absolutely hated this. They did not like the idea of our little character being a kaiju, like being that tall and big. They felt like it really limited their design. They wanted it to be the size of the train, which I don't think I would have gotten that response if I had used this standard block version of it. But yeah, it was funny. The kickback I got on that was pretty hilarious. Now keep in mind, all of this artwork needs to be, if it's going to be in the set, it needs to be 3D. So this is all going to be 3D objects. Anything that's playable in this playable space in 3D, anything in the background will be 2D, just to speed up the process. So I kind of done a breakdown of how this could work to give everyone an idea. And then we kind of got the idea based off of that we could have a city theme, a forest theme, and a cave theme. So we're going to do 10 levels total for our game. And so 3 of them will be city, 3 of them will be forest, and 3 of them will be cave. And that kind of gives a little bit different flavor and progression through it. So these are some ideas for like the hazard in the city could be like a green poison liquid. In the forest, it could be a blue river or stream. In the cave, it could be, red lava would make sense, but the hazards would be just reskinned for each one. In the city, you could have some tall buildings. In the forest, you could have tall trees. In the cave, you could have tall rock formations. We were trying to figure out how we could swap these out, have them all make sense with different visual cues in the level. So I presented that to the team on Wednesday, and everyone went kind of crazy with designs after that. So really quickly, we were still trying to figure out the character. And we had one more character redesign come through on right after Wednesday, and I'll show you that one was this one right here. So Ellie came up with this really cool game character, trying to merge a platformer character with the paddle kind of style, and keep the robot theme, which I thought this was really cool, but started getting a little bit more complex and further. Originally, I wanted to stick to that original character here, the original robot. You can see one of Ellie's drawings here with the kind of that original robot design, because I thought it was kind of used that iconic design in a real simple shape that was readable, so you could read that character from distances. But the team wasn't liking it. And so I totally respect that, but things kept going more complicated. And then we realized as well for the animation, to animate the character running around with the arms and the legs and all that stuff, it got a lot more complicated for an 8-week project. So we had to adjust it even more. And I took the design to my friend who is an animator, his name's Nathan, and said, hey, do you want to help us out with some animations on this character? And he said, let me see it. And he took that initial character, which is this one that Animate Zach had done the modeling for, and he said, let me redesign it for you. And so he came up with this idea, which I absolutely love. If you notice, a lot of these same features are here. The bowl shape underneath here is just kind of inverted, so it's facing the other way and then duplicated, right? So just really simplified that robot design. But his idea that it would kind of bounce back and forth like a spring, which really didn't work well for a smooth brick breaker game where we want that paddle to go left and right really smoothly. So one of our designers, Ryan, said, well, could we merge it with a BB-8? To which I spent the rest of the night kind of doing a modeling mock-up of what this character could look like with a ball as it's moving to move it, and it would be a lot cleaner. And then I was kind of playing around with the size of the head as the paddle too. So I think this is something, if we got to power up, the head could increase in width. After that, I handed it off to Animate Zach, our amazing 3D modeler. And in a couple hours, he had this mocked up, which is awesome. Which he then did an AO pass for the baking, made some textures, and we came up with this for our game character, which is phenomenal. So we're moving along. We're back on track. We have a character now. So I am pretty darned excited about that. And now it's rigged. So we went from no character to we have a rigged character now. And Animate Zach is all ready to start on the animations. The build this week should have at least the static character in, and we're hoping to get some of our models and textures in. So pretty awesome. From that point onward as well, after I presented this, Zach started doing some design work on what that could look like. Ellie started working on and how she could block up those pieces. So, and how these unique assets could become platforms. So this is really cool in the city. She was figuring out how we could use pipes as those excuse me, sneezing, as those one-to-one block pieces. And by the way, if anyone has any questions during this, or if you find it interesting, let me know. More of this content will be on the Walternet channel. Later on, this will be cut up. But coming up with some city ideas. Here's some more of like the hazards and the kind of things you would see in the city. And then Zach threw some cave backgrounds and threw on some temporary textures to start to get the feel of what the cave could feel like with that original character too. And then threw in some of those art pieces to see what the city could look like. And then kind of some texture ideation to see what that could feel like. So we have some lava and some liquid, trying to just get a taste of what things could look like. So Zach just started running with the design, which is awesome. I think I'm actually just going to start posting these progress images wholesale on our Instagram and our Twitter and our other social media pages if anyone wants to check out some of this, because I think it's beautiful, some of the stuff that's been done. Here's another quick mock-up of what the in 3D, what it could look like. So he started mocking up the blocks and placing some coins, and at that point we thought we need some coins. We don't know exactly what those coins will do, and that's okay. So if our engineers are listening, just add the coins, put a simple effect on them and a sound, and we'll start figuring out what that will feel like. But Zach was awesome enough to make a quick block up of what a level could look like, which I love this design. And then he started taking what I had originally designed and breaking it up into a really nice guide for our artists. So we have this nice brick guide to show us exactly how we should build our assets going on into the next week. Jack said they're already in the build. I added them today. Thank you so much, Jack. So you're awesome. So we have coins now. This is great. I'm excited to potentially play the build. We're 6.2 gigs into our 14 gig 4.4.4 installation. So we'll get there. We'll keep chatting. And so here's another breakdown to show how the pieces will work in game. Really low poly, but with beveled edges to make them a little bit more pleasing. So we have 5 shapes. We have a cube, slope, rounded corner, rectangle, and traditional rectangle. So awesome. I like the change in the shape for the bricks. So this is great. And then here they are with some color passes to show you what they could look like for the wood, the ground, the grass with the grass on top. So this is awesome. And then we started coming up with unique obstacles for the city, the cave, and the forest. So we're still trying to figure out a lot of this out. I like the blade from Super Meat Boy. We're very reminiscent for this cave. Some of the sections, my questions were how these would work for platformings, which these stalactites make sense that you would jump on top of them. But some of my feedback was like for these gems and stuff, try to make them with a flatter top or some kind of surface that would make sense for the player to platform on and walk on. And, you know, we do have the option if those break, they could produce some pickups or something cool. Yeah, here was that initial hero there. What else can I show you guys? We got a lot of stuff coming in. Okay, so here is, we had a little animation test. Zach was trying to figure out how to do the treads on the wheels, so he was doing a little animation test here to show how that could work, and we'll see if it'll play. So he was trying to decide, did it feel right if the wheels were just moving right in one motion, or if they moved kind of on the Z-axis as well, which I kind of like this one on the right. If anyone has any suggestions for that. Also, if anyone wants to pick out a good name for our character, we'd love to hear it. But this is kind of the animation for the wheels moving, which I dig the right side. I also like the shape on this wheel. I know it's not like a traditional tread, but being able to see through it, I think will add some depth to the character and be interesting. And it has kind of this polygon shape to it, kind of like we're using Unreal, but it's kind of the Unity, the Unity logo almost in there a little bit. So very cool. All right, so what else can I show y'all? So we had here is a cave concept image created by Amelia, which is awesome. Some of the texture designs Amelia came with, which honestly I thought these would be a little too busy, but once they were in engines, they didn't look too bad. So we'll have to see how they look. And here are some examples of those cave pieces as well. I like the bones. This feels like something I could jump up and platform on. And be really cool when it broke, so you'd have like some bone effects and stuff popping out. Animate Zach says, I just uploaded a jump animation test on Discord. Let's check it out. Early jump animation test. I haven't seen this yet. So here's our character jumping. We're so excited. Oop. Oh, that's cute! So this is going to be super interesting. So my first feedback, my guess, and we'll see how it is in game, but it's probably going to have to be about twice as fast. But this is awesome. So yeah, and we'll have to cut it so he jumps, and yeah, it comes down. We'll have to play with the speed on that, but we could speed that up in engine too. This is a great start though. Isn't that cool? I love the blinking. That's exactly what I wanted, was that like little bit of character to it. So there, we've got the jumping animation. That's fantastic. Beautiful. Here is a level mock-up from Ryan, who's going to be taking lead on level design in the game. Kind of some crazy ambient going on in those coins right now. Almost blinding. But they've been playing around with levels that are extra wide. This would still hopefully fit in one screen. But the idea is we wouldn't move left to right at all on the screen. And for some reason, he's really fond of just going completely orthographic, so flattening out the pieces in their entirety, which I'm not crazy about. But we'll test it out. We'll see how it goes. Some more examples of the geometry painted in Sub Designer by Amelia. And here is that template from Zach. Lots of awesome stuff. And we are officially... Oh, we have 2 gigabytes left on our build to see if we can actually play the build.